I'm April. Welcome to my teeny tiny kitchen in Brooklyn, New York. Today I'm going to show you how to make a filet Haricots, which are French green beans. They're basically just smaller and fancier green beans, but Haricots literally means green bean in French. And we're going to make garlic smashed potatoes, and for dessert, a pizookie. So this is a meal you can make for Valentine's Day. It's really, really easy. It's really fancy. It's something that you would totally get at a restaurant. I just bought 2 fillets, some little red potatoes, some Haricots green beans, and this is going to be part of my dessert. Some good old-fashioned Pillsbury chocolate chip cookie dough. What we're going to start doing is taking our fillets, and we're going to put them on a plate and not on wood. It's important to put raw meat not on wood, because the bacteria will live in your wood cutting board forever and infect everyone you feed. That's not very romantic, so we're going to avoid that. So we have our 2 fillets. And it's really important that your fillets come to room temperature before you cook them. So you just want to leave them out for a bit. Okay, so we have our meat here, and we're just going to put some salt and pepper on. And you want to put a lot of salt. I know this looks ridiculous and like a ton of salt, but that's how it tastes good. And also these steaks come with little thread, butcher's twine around them, and you want to leave that on because it just keeps them in place. It keeps them from like becoming a mush blob in the pan. Keeps their shape. And then we're going to do some pepper as well, some freshly ground pepper on both sides. And then we need to get our oven on, because what we're going to do is cook it in the pan sear it, and then we're going to put it in the oven to finish it off inside. So we're going to put our oven on 450, and we're going to boil some water for our potatoes and our Haricots green beans. Turn on this pan, and what you want to do is get a heavy pan, like a cast iron is the best. But you want the pan to have substance and be heavy, otherwise the heat will not be distributed evenly and you won't get a good sear on your meat. So we're going to turn that on and leave it on for a while. Okay, so we have our water boiling, and I'm going to add some salt for good measure, and we're actually going to cover it as well because that will get it boiling a little bit faster. So what I do is I just buy peeled garlic. I use a lot of garlic in my cooking, so I just buy the peeled garlic that's already peeled, but then I chop it myself because I think that it's better than the garlic that is in those little containers that are pre-chopped. They just taste a little weird to me. So I buy it and then I just chop it up. I have this teeny tiny little processor. This is the only food processor I have, and it's tiny, just like my kitchen, but it works, and I primarily only use it for chopping garlic. Once our pan gets hot, we're going to add some oil, just like that. And then we're going to add our steaks, and we're just going to set them right on in there and not move them or anything, and it's going to splatter all over. And we're just going to leave them there, and I'm actually going to time it, and we're going to do like 4 minutes on each side, and that's going to get the crust on the outside of these steaks. And they're pretty thick. They're maybe like 1.5 inches thick, so doing this alone is not going to cook the inside, so we have to, that's why we're going to also put them in the oven. Meantime, we'll wash our potatoes. So I just use this little thing, and we're just going to wash them off and get them ready. Another thing we're going to do with the green beans is we're going to blanch them, which is a process where you put them in the boiling water I like my green beans really crisp, so you just put them in there to soften them up a little bit, and then you take them out after like a minute and put them in an ice bath. So we're going to open our cookie dough, and I'm going to do these in the oven because I don't have a microwave, but you could also do it in the microwave. In the oven, it gets a little bit crisp, which I like, but in the microwave, it will just get gooey, which is also delicious. Grab your steak, and you can see that it's crusty. There's like salt crust, which is exactly what you want. Woo! A beautiful salt crust. This is a good one. So you can see that it's brown on both sides, but that it's still red in the middle. So if you wanted to serve it like this, you could, and that would be a really rare steak. But it's a little bit too rare for me. So I like a medium rare. So we're just going to take this whole thing and put it into the oven. So we put our potatoes in, we're going to boil those, and we just want to get them a little tender, and then we're going to smash them and fry them with garlic and butter. Okay, steaks are done. Woo! The pan is still really hot. And also, what we can do is tent them, which means that you put a piece of tinfoil over, and that lets them continue to cook. But I'm actually not going to do that because I think that they're probably perfect. Hopefully. So we have to manhandle these steaks a bit, but that's okay. And sometimes it's a little hard to see the butcher's twine because it cooks into the meat, and it goes, as you can see, it's like in there. And someone might get a string with their meal, but that person wins a prize. And that prize can be your special Valentine's secret. Spice up the night. Whoever gets the butcher's twine in their steak gets whatever you're into. So our potatoes are ready, so we're just going to take our potatoes out and put them on our cutting board, just like this. Let them cool down for a second. And we're going to use the same pot to do the Haricots because that is part of our lazy mentality here. And we want to use minimal pots, and we don't want to have to reboil some water. And it just has a little bit of potato in there, but that's fine. So our water's boiling, so we're just going to drop these in. So here they are, here are green beans, and we're just going to drop them in. And I'm really just going to do them for 1 minute. Our green beans are ready, so we will take them out, drop them into our ice bath. Just like this. You can turn it off. And what that's going to do is stop the cooking so that they don't get mushy, because nothing is grosser than mushy green beans, except mushy zucchini. That is really gross. But we're going to take them out because they have stopped cooking, but I didn't want them to be freezing cold, so I'm going to dump this out. And now I'm going to put them back in, which might seem counterintuitive, but that is what I'm doing. So it's going to warm them up a little bit more, but not cook them more. So to smash my potatoes, I'm going to use a paper towel, and I'm going to turn my pan back on, get that hot again. And I'm going to use the same pan that I did the steaks in because, like I said, we want to use just a few pots and pans. Not everybody has a ton of pots and pans. So, and this is less dishes so that you can do other things later tonight on your Valentine's Day. Not do dishes. For me, I'll probably watch The Bachelor, cry. No. I do love The Bachelor though. Alright, so we're just smashing. There it is. Smashed potato. So this is hot, so we're going to add a little bit of oil. And when I say little, I mean a lot. It's all relative though. Alright, and we're going to move that all around. Get that hot. And I'm going to move my potatoes over here, just so they're right next to where we're going to be working. And my mushed garlic supply, get that ready. And what we're going to do is just put these down into the oil. Some people like to put their garlic in first when they cook, but I find that that makes it burn, and I always like to add garlic later because it still cooks, but it doesn't burn. And burnt garlic tastes really bad. So we're gonna let them sit in there for like 2 minutes per side. And you can't smell, but they smell amazing. Garlicky and more garlicky. And it's totally okay if they fall apart too. It doesn't have to be one solid thing. The point of these is they're smashed. They're kind of rustic and messy, but it's just different than a mashed potato. And we're sick of mashed potatoes. And we're gonna salt them. Take our little salts, sprinkle some salt on there. Just like that. And that is your Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving, Valentine's. That is your Valentine's, your romantic Valentine's meal. There's no way that somebody can't love you after you make them this. Seriously, and if they don't, it wasn't meant to be, and you need to get over that situation. This is our sensuous steak shot, where we show you the inner beauty of this steak. So now that it's been resting for about 10 minutes, we can cut it open, and you will see how amazingly beautiful and perfect it is. Woo! This is perfect. So we just take off a little piece like this, and that's your steak. And you can eat it with some little garlic smashed potatoes. We just ate our meal, me and my loved one, which was my imaginary friend. It was delicious, and now we're going to take the dessert out of the oven. And so what I ended up doing was putting the broiler on, which is the heat source from the top of the oven. When you bake, the heat source is on the bottom of the oven. When you broil, it's on the top of the oven, so it will brown whatever you're cooking. So I ended up broiling, so I did about 10 minutes on 400 and then 5 broiled. And that just gave us this little brown crust on the top, which I like. So you don't have to do that. If you don't do that, then it'll just be a little whiter and just more mushy and not crusty. Those are really lovely terms to use to describe food. All right. Scoop of ice cream on top. If you want to get really fancy, you can do some chocolate sauce, but we're just doing plain old ice cream. You have the ice cream, the ooey gooey cookie. Woo! It's a mess, but it's amazing. And it's hot, and it's cold, and it's salty, and it's sweet, and it's chewy, and milky, and steamy. And so good. So, I hope you enjoyed making this Valentine's Day meal with me, and I hope you can make it yourself now. It's, like I said, a really simple meal. You can go out and get the same thing for 10 times the price. This whole thing costs about $15, $20. There's leftovers, there's dessert, whoops, and get a bottle of wine and hang out with your loved one or by yourself and your television, which is where really true love is. Let's be real. All right, thank you for joining.